Isaac Chamberlain defeats Mikael Lawal via unanimous decision at York Hall to become the British and Commonwealth Cruiserweight champion. I'm really made up for Isaac. He seems like a super humble and nice guy. You could tell how much the win meant to him. He looked overjoyed, very emotional, and I'm made up for him. He's had a bit of a hard road, to be honest. He's fought the likes of Lawrence Okolie and Chris Billam-Smith, two top fighters in the division at this point. He lost, but still rallied back. There's honestly no shame in losing to both of those guys because, I mean, they're current and former world champions and they're good, solid, all-round fighters. One thing that Chamberlain actually said in his post-fight interviews is that he's really struggled with confidence in his past fights, and I think, to be honest, that was super telling. His past performances against Okolie, he looked quite underwhelming, didn't really look like he wanted to be in there, looked like he felt sorry for himself. But in that Chris Billam-Smith fight, I think he took a lot from that. It was brutal, it was relentless, and he really put a good account up of himself. I think he learned a lot from that fight. He really had to dig deep, and I think that fight filled him with some confidence because he took punishment but then obviously gave it back out, and I think that might have been like, right, I can take these shots but I can also give it back. It's almost like he needed that fight to bring that inner warrior spirit out of him. In this fight, it just seemed like his confidence just oozed, and that's something that we just haven't really seen from him yet. You could tell in all the pre-fight, like lead up towards this fight against Lawal, that he meant business. He looked like a different man in there. He looked mean and ready for war. With this fight against Lawal, it was really telling who was the more experienced man in there. For Lawal, it was probably his first real step up, whereas Chamberlain has been fighting at European and world level, and I think he would have taken a lot at fighting at that level, and I think it showed in this fight. He showed some real grit and heart in that Billam-Smith fight, and I think he took that, implemented that in this fight, and it really put him in good stead for it. So let's talk the fight. Chamberlain really dominated this fight. He came out firing on all cylinders, and he was there to prove a point. He made it his fight. The problem with his past fights was that he kind of almost fought his opponent's fight. In this fight, he really just didn't give anything to Lawal, really took him out of his rhythm, and he just bossed the entire fight. Chamberlain boxed beautifully. He really controlled the pace and pressure. He feinted well. He used his jab in abundance, something that I thought he lacked in his previous fights, and he really went to town on that body, slowing down Lawal. He threw some good left hooks to body and head, and he really bullied the puncher in there. He just didn't allow him to, get set for that right hand, that powerful right hand that we all know he has. And he just took that away from him through that bully sort of mentality. He just didn't give him any sort of distance to throw that, didn't give him any space to work with. It was good stuff. He used good systematic pressure, boxed well, and just pushed him against the ropes. Just didn't give him any space or time to breathe. Chamberlain really did empty all the chambers. He, I think, won 11 rounds out of 12. I probably only gave Lawal one of those rounds, and that was probably the last and final round. And at that point, he really just didn't give himself any justice. He should have probably done more earlier, but I think the writing was on the wall. Probably from round 4 onward, he just wasn't in the fight. It was well and truly a dominant performance from Chamberlain. In there, I thought Chamberlain was the bigger man. Before, I kind of always just thought that Chamberlain is a bit of a smaller cruiserweight. When he went up against Billam-Smith, when he went up against Okolie, he was just a smaller man. But in this fight, he really implemented those bigger man tactics and applied that systematic pressure. In the future, I do believe Isaac needs to implement different tactics. I don't think this slugfest like fight really suits him. I think he needs to box more, counter more, especially against these bigger cruiserweights like Bill and Smith, if for instance they do have a rematch in the future. Chamberlain is a really good boxer when he gets going, and he really does throw some good combinations. So he just needs to, as I said, do that boxing and not fight their fight in the future. But yeah, what a fight, what a win for Isaac Chamberlain, the new British and Commonwealth Cruiserweight champion. I'm really made up for the guy. He does deserve this, and you could just see how much it meant to him in the post-fight interviews in his locker room. He got really emotional. He deserves it. He looks like he's put in the hard work, the real grit in the training camps, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does from here. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you drop a like, subscribe and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.